welcome back. Episode 3 of the Unplug Podcast with Freeman, yours truly, and my boy
JP.
JP. And I love the way you always introduce yourself. So soft and
soft
and elegant.
I'm a soft guy. At heart.
All right, cool. We've got a banger of an episode for you guys today. We're talking about some real stuff. We're going to be very transparent and authentic with you, and just talking to you about some real stuff and how we overcame certain things in our lives. But before we get into that, how's your week been, bro?
Yeah, not too bad. Just busy as usual. Obviously, we both work in the same industry, so the property management industry. In the process of trying to acquire some more property.
Whereabouts?
Central London.
That's
my
nice.
patch. I know
Nice.
you're trying to
Fancy.
encroach on my my patch.
Slowly.
Stay away from zone 1. That's
Slowly,
my patch. But
slowly.
yeah, just busy. Same kids. You know, it goes. Just
Nice.
trying to get that money, man.
That's
You?
the MO.
How's
Yeah,
things?
pretty much same. Good. Hired a new marketing agency
Cool.
for our business profile, support for SEOs and website stuff. So that's really good. Before I used to have my marketing separate. I used to have individual marketing exec and video editor, website designer, SEO guys. But now just having one person as a point of contact to just talk to makes just things a lot easier and smoother. So hopefully, for the business that will pick up, and we can look at that for the next quarter or so. So what's good, yeah. What's good, yeah. Also looking for some properties as well.
Yeah. All good.
That's good. But getting straight into it. So today's episode, the topic is addiction.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. I think it's something that everyone suffers with to some form of degree. And I think ultimately the most important thing about it is obviously how you overcome / deal with it and manage it as well. So I think maybe it would be kind of good. Obviously, most people know what addiction is, but maybe, I don't know, it'd be good to kind of explain softly. What's your definition or a definition of an addiction?
My personal definition of an addiction is something that really you shouldn't be doing, but you do it anyway, and it is essentially holding you back from becoming. This podcast is all about becoming a better version, but becoming a better version of yourself. So in my eyes, something you really shouldn't be doing. It's not really good for you, but you do it anyway, and it's essentially holding you back. That would be my definition. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same manner. It's stopping you from becoming the highest. I always kind of say that's my thing, the highest version of yourself. Anything that a habit, a characteristic, a trait, an activity that you do that constantly stops you from being the highest version of yourself that there's more to you to becoming. So I think that's essentially what an addiction is, something that you struggle to overcome, to deal with, and that you're always on.
I was going to say and probably talk about the different types of addictions. So you're looking at things like, I don't know, porn, gambling, drinking, smoking, food, shopping. It can be various different things.
Obsession of the opposite sex or same sex or whatever.
Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So just excessive with it is the word. Obviously, we believe in balance.
Yes.
But I feel like it becomes an addiction where it now takes over your life.
Your day to day.
Yeah.
It's stopping you from doing certain things, meeting with family, your business, your personal life, just managing yourself as a human being.
Definitely. Affecting relationships as well. Holding you back, essentially.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think as well, it will kind of be good. Obviously, like I said, it will be good to kind of be transparent. I'm going to go first, kind of just talking about some of the addictions that we've personally had to deal with. Obviously, again, just kind of disclaimer, obviously, we're not like psychologists, physiotherapists or nothing. We're just two guys just giving you our truths.
Sharing thoughts and views and opinions.
Simply.
That is it.
Simply.
That is it.
So one thing for me that I think I had a big addiction with was gambling. I had a big addiction. I think, and I had this quite young as well. I had this from when I was 16. 16, and I think it got really aggressive when I was 18 because then you could actually go into the bookie.
I was going to say, how did you pull that at 16?
So
how did you pull that one
at
off?
16? It was scratch cards.
Oh.
I remember about where I used to live, there used to be a corner shop down the road, and every used to get my sweets or whatever. And we used to see these little cards with loads of numbers, and people would just be like, just dash it. I'm like, what is this guy getting all hot and bothered of and just littering? You know what I mean? So at one time I was just mad curious. I just picked it up. Bro, £50,000 a month for the rest of your life. Jesus Christ. I went to boss one, let me get 5 of them. Let me get 5 of them. I want that. He said, no, you have to wait until how old? No, he said, how old are you? I said, I'm 16. He said, no, you have to be 18 to buy it. Went to my mum. She said, you can't do that, obviously, as you know. And then as soon as I turned 18, locally to where I live, there's like a small little slots place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, it was outside college. I was just banging in £1 coins into the machine. I slapped a pound in, and I got like £180.
Mm-hmm. That's how they get you, bro.
And that was the rush.
That's how they
That
get
was
you.
the rush that got me. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about the £35 I just spent previously, mind you. Yeah, just bringing in £1. I was like, £180 from doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
This is impossible.
At that point, you realise.
I haven't realised.
If you minus the 180 from the 35.
So I'm saying, I'm not doing the maths.
Yeah,
I'm doing a bit of girl maths. I'm doing a bit of girl maths right now. I'm just thinking, this is just free money, unlimited money. Like, this is ridiculous. You know, I don't know, like, the house always wins and So then it started from there. And obviously I'm in college. Obviously everyone's broken college, university, whatever. So I had no money, every single pound, just putting it there. Then I got into online betting. I don't obviously follow football. I was just betting on Indian cricket, Australia versus India. I don't even know. It accumulates everything. And it became a problem where like I was just rinsing my money on this, the point where like I would start taking like my mum's card or my dad's card.
Okay.
And that's when it like it became a problem. And obviously like I'm, Nigerian. Them things. So I learned the hard way, bruv. I learned a very painful, forceful way that is just not run. And then once I had that eye opener that like this is a problem. And don't get me wrong, that's like this like well continued on to like my early 20s, and it still kind of became a problem. And it was just like when I sat down, I started doing the maths, and I'm looking and like flipping, bro. I'm spending a lot of money.
Yeah, you're losing.
I'm losing, bro. I'm losing. And then and I'll spend like £150 in a day, and I'll make like £90, and I'm forgetting that I spent £150.
So you're really minus £60 down.
Seriously, and I'm forgetting about the £150 of 50 other days that I spent, bro.
I was about to say the days before.
You know what I mean? And I'm just doing very poor maths, and it's getting to me, and I'm like, I'm just literally in my room on my bed, I'm trying to make it out like a job. I'm trying to find tactics. You know, like what's the best way in blackjack to do this and the best way in roulette to do that. And when I knew it was an addiction is when I started to normalize it and realize it that like I'm trying to make this into a job and I'm trying to get better at it. And obviously I'm a religious person. So like it's a sinful activity, from like culturally and from personally from my religion and my perspective. And I really shouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? And another thing of how I even knew it was an addiction, right, is because with most addictions, you're ashamed. It's not something that you can publicly, although contradictorily, I'm speaking of this publicly. But it's not something that you'd publicly speak about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't. You don't want people to know.
I can't say this on my chest. You know what I mean? Like I do it in the bathroom,
behind closed doors,
on the toilet, but behind closed doors. Quick. You know what I mean? So that's when I knew for me, like it was an addiction. And then that was it. But that's before I get into like how I overcome it. But that's like my
Well, it's funny you say that because my thing was gambling as well. Like got introduced to it probably about 15 years ago, a very long time. And it was football. And at the time, obviously, I love my football. Those who know me know I love my football. I looked at it as like an investment opportunity that if I can put down X, I can get back Y. So I felt like it was like a little bit of hustle, make a little extra money.
Sounds logical, innit?
It sounds logical. And obviously, because you have the knowledge of football, you think, yeah, man, I know this. But then, like you said, at that point, you don't, like, the house always wins.
Always.
The house always wins. So I struggled with it for a very long time. Like I said, for me, I realized it was addiction when it started affecting my mood. Like, I would bet from morning till night. Like, I would lose dough in a day. But I just kept going because when you lose money, it's like, you just want to try and make it back.
Of course.
You know, but you're chasing. You're chasing, like, to the point where, like, gambling sites started shutting me down. They're like, no, you're doing too much. And like, I'm trying to create new accounts under new names. And I'm like, no, this is a problem. And I think for me, luckily at the time, I was making good money. So I never really felt it like that. I had like a property and the property was bringing me good money. But I look back now, I'm thinking, I blew my property money. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was a problem. And all I wanted to do, like, I had like, there's an app called Flash Scores where you can check scores and that. My phone will be popping up. I was betting on like women's football in like Ukraine and like any game I could find to bet on.
Yeah.
Like you said, you try and turn it into like a business.
Yes.
I was looking at tactics. I'm buying books. I'm like, learning how to. But mine was just strictly football.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a serious problem. And I look back and a lot of money was wasted. But I always, like I said, looked at it as like, it's just an investment.
Same. It sounded logical.
Yeah, very logical. But the funny thing was, like, I won money, but you always lose more than you win. People don't get that. Like with gambling, you're always gonna lose more than, unless you're like a professional poker player.
Yes.
Where you go to casino and it's there's a bit more tact.
Yes.
A bit more skill. Like the bookie, you can never beat the bookie. And I realized that the hard way. Like I'm talking like 5 figures, 6 figures, like big losses because they accumulate over a while.
Yeah, you forget about that.
And I remember like hitting a big un. I think I won like 12 grand.
Jeez.
Ask me where that money went. Ask me where that money went. The house won back that money fast. I think I might have spent a couple of grand of it, but the majority of it went back. And at that point, I was like, yeah. I'm in the red, like serious red. Serious red. So yeah, like, similar to you, football, and it's everywhere. The adverts, because I like watching it. It's like you're watching it and you think, a little in-play bet.
Yeah.
I feel like Arsenal are going to score next. Let me slap a little money on that. And it's just like, it becomes very addictive is the word.
No, exactly.
But it was definitely holding me back because I look back now and I think to myself, if I didn't waste all that money, or just put all that time and attention into something else, more productive.
Yeah.
Something that I could actually do well in.
Yeah.
Where would I be now? You know? But harsh lesson, man. But we only learn from failing, you know? So
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So exactly that.
So moving on. So how did you what was the light bulb moment? What was the unplug moment?
I'm still going for it.
I thought I saw a betting app pop up on your phone.
I just said the bookie like 2 minutes. That's why I was late. I was at the bookies played. Nah, joking. How I was able to overcome it. I have this like I talked about it in previous episodes, like sort of like being harsh on myself. And I think one of the ways I kind of dealt with it is like, Freeman, like this is crap, man. Like you're actually being poor right now. This is not you. This is poor. Like I was being harsh. Like I was doing like a David Goggins type thing. Like, you know, you're horrible, you're crap, like you're like I was being harsh on myself, like, no, you can't keep on doing this. And then I made it about the money in terms of how much money I was losing. And then I've always, like if there's obviously like with a lot of bad habits or addictions, kind of just going cold turkey instantaneously is very difficult. You know what I mean? So slowly, like I would whittle it down. So like before I used to have like no limits. Like, you know how you can put like a limit, like £100 a day, 150 a day. So like I would do like £50 a day limit.
Cut it down.
I would cut it down slowly. And then because I would always be like, I either go big or go home. And so me, like, what am I doing for £50 bet?
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's nothing.
Yeah, that is.
So I wouldn't just even bother it.
Yeah.
Like, well, £50 bet to make £75. I'd rather just go work in Tesco for an hour and a half and just do a solid graft knowing my money's safe and secure in it. So I slowly reduced the limits and the time of activity, and then slowly with that I started like pausing like accounts. I'd pause accounts, then I'll start closing accounts. And then as well, like I said, in terms of the locations I did it was always when like I was at home by myself, I was on the toilet, or I was late at night. So then I started sleeping without my phone.
Oh, wow.
At night.
That's good.
So I started sleeping, and funny enough, I had better sleeps because obviously I'm not with my friend. I'm not like do kind of like doom scrolling.
Well,
you know, I'm not thinking about it. So I started doing that. So I started being in more public places. So like not trying to seclude myself so I can quickly go and place a quick thing. So I started secluding myself. I stopped sleeping with my phone, and that massively helped me. And then it got to a month. I'm like something just felt a bit. We're like, I ain't placed nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, maybe I'll just kind of keep on going with it. And then with time, and don't get me wrong, I had lapses. And I feel like that's absolutely fine as well.
They say that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like a saying that something like every person who goes through it, they have a relapse.
Yes.
And it's normal.
It's normal.
Yeah,
it's normal.
part of the process.
It's normal. Like you can't just have a clean sheet. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I had a few lapses and just went mad. Again, just went mad. To almost to the point where like all the money I was saving was just pointless. But then because I went so mad, it made me realize how much I've just come and how far I've just come, how much progress I've made. I was like, okay, cool, that's my next milestone. All right, cool, let me just do 2 months. Let me do 3 months. And then 3 months turned into 6 months. And then 6 months turned into 9. And then a year. And don't get me twisted, like, it's just like you said earlier on, within reason, like, just an occasional scratch. If I'm at a petrol station, like, occasional scratch card, like, quick five was like, yeah, like that's what I would do. Just like now to the point where I could just even think about it. And I'll just think of it as like, cool, like where else can I invest my money?
And also think to yourself that it's a waste of time.
Waste of time, bro.
You're not gonna, like, them things are not set out to make the average man win.
Literally.
And win big.
It's set against you.
Yeah, 100%.
It's set against you. So, and then like I said, just started doing like the little, then close all the accounts, not sleep off my phone. Then started doing like scratch cards and literally found like I would literally bang like 10 scratch cards, spend like £30, £20 and make like £2 back. And then for me, that was just like, now dumb. The logic started to hit in a lot more because it's emotional. It's emotional. Like even though like we're trying to emotionally reason with logic that it's an investment, but it's emotional. It's all emotional. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm gonna win. Surely if I put an extra £10,000 back, I can make my money back. So that was my mentality. And then with time, like it just kind of whittled away. And then I started distracting myself positively. So like going to the gym, going out more with my friends. Then I got into the cinema. I'm obviously like, obviously I love movies. I'll go to movies by myself. Like I love the cinema. So then that was my thing. I distracted myself with other things. You know what I mean? So, and then that was kind of it for me, pretty much.
Cool. I think for me, like, I realized that an addiction 9 times out of 10 is caused by a trigger. So you will see something, it'll make you think, I want to gamble. So for me, I'm like big on X, Twitter. And I used to follow loads of like gambling like gurus who post up like better the day. I'm like, I got to get on this better the day. And I realized one day I was like, I knew I needed to stop because, like I said, it was affecting kind of my mood. It was all I wanted to do, really. Like I saw it as a way to make money. And eventually I was like, yeah, I needed to stop that. I'm like, what am I doing? And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. I'm like, I'm just doing this over and over again. I'm losing money every day. Like, how long can I do this? Like, my pot is not endless. Like, I've not made it. Do you know what I mean? How can I afford to keep throwing my money away? And I just got to a point, I'm like, I need to stop. Like, I've been doing it for too long now and there's been no positive results. So I must be an absolute idiot if I continue to do this. But I thought to myself, like, how do I stop? And it for me, it was unfollowing certain people on social media, even hanging around with certain people, like proper distance myself away from it. Even like at one point, I actually stopped watching football because I found every time I watch football, it made me want to gamble. I'm watching a game, and like I said to you, we laughed earlier, I'm watching Arsenal, I'm thinking, Arsenal are going to concede here. Like, let me put a little, you know what I mean? A little something on the other team to score. And then I'd get vexed when they didn't score. But you know, I think there was a moment, I remember the exact moment, I put a lot of money on, I think it was like a treble. So for those who don't know, a treble is when you bet on 3 outcomes. So I think the treble was Spain to win, Italy to win, and France to win. And I think the 2 games started earlier. So two of the 3 bets had won, and I was just waiting for the France game to come in. And it was 1-1. And it went to injury time, and France got a penalty. So, and I needed France to win that game to win £7,000.
Jeez. What do you know what you put on?
Like £1,000.
Damn.
That's what I mean. I was crazy with it. I put on £1,000. It's like a 6. I remember it like
6
it was
to
yesterday.
1,
It was either 6 to 1 or 7 to 1. But I just knew I was either winning 6 or £7,000. And France got a penalty, but their 2 main penalty takers had come off. So Mbappe went off, top striker, and I think Giroud, top at the time, went off. And a guy called, I'd never forget this. I didn't sleep for about 2 months.
This is bringing back trauma.
Traumatized to this day. A guy called Antoine Griezmann, if you're watching, you cost me £7,000, bro. He stepped up and he missed the penalty and the game ended 1-1.
Damn.
And if he did score, I'd won £7,000. And at that point, I was like, I cannot rely on other people like that. Football is so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just, anything can happen in a game. A man can get sent off, or like a man can miss a penalty in the 95th minute, and I'm like, nah, this is not the way to make money because I'm not in control of it. I want to get into something where I'm in more control of making money. I think at that point I was like, I needed to stop. So at that point, it was kind of like, all right, how do I stop? The triggers, what are the removal triggers? Stop following certain people on social media, stop hanging around with certain people, kick back from football for a while. Like literally anything that is football related that will make me want to gamble needs to go. And like what you said, I think was key. Like I found other distractions, like something else that would get my mind, because your mind's just consumed with it. Like all you want to do is consume whatever your addiction is.
Yeah, no, right.
And it's about trying to find something positive that is actually better for you. Obviously, when you've got your addiction, you think it's good for you. You think it's good to drink. You think it's good to watch porn all day long. You think it's good to shop all day long. You think it's good to do all these things that if you was to really just step out of yourself and look at yourself, you'd probably be ashamed of yourself.
Literally, bro. Literally.
Like, you'd probably slap yourself over the head.
Multiple times.
So, yeah, it was just like, I didn't want to, I just got to, I don't like that I'm relying on other people in that regard to make money. The house always wins.
Always.
Do I know anyone who's a successful gambler?
Zero.
That's always another thing. We spoke about in another episode. Like, if you want to be successful, generally you follow other successful people.
Yeah.
Whenever I looked around, I couldn't see anyone who was successful at gambling in football.
Yeah.
So why am I trying to reinvent this wheel? Why am I trying to be this like outlier who now all of a sudden have made gambling work for them? Like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? So it was time to kind of flip it all on its head.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good. But obviously, as you know, guys, in this podcast, we always try to make practical steps. So like, standardly, like, what are kind of like 3 steps? I know we kind of probably between us gave our personal advice, but sort of like blanket level, like for people who have like general addictions, what are 3 steps that they could take? From your perspective.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'll go number 1. I'll throw out number 1 again. I think it all starts with kind of knowing what you want. And where I'm going with this is that if you know what you want and this addiction that you can't seem to get rid of, you got to ask, is this addiction going to help me with whatever I want? I think a lot of things start from kind of your need, your want, where you want to be. And I ask myself, I'm like, does this gambling thing going to help me achieve what I want to achieve? So I think it has to start with you as a person. You have to look yourself in the mirror. A lot of us don't. Like, what do I want from life? And I think that's why a lot of time we get caught up in doing things that we probably really shouldn't, because we got no direction. We haven't identified a purpose for oneself. So identify that purpose and ask yourself, like, is this helping me? Like, if I want to be fit and healthy, is drinking every day helping me do that?
Yeah.
If I want to save my money and invest my money, is shopping every day going to help me? Do you know what I mean? If I know I need to learn some skills because I want to make more money, is sitting at home watching porn all day long every day going to help me? Do you know what I mean? So identify number 1, like your purpose and some type of direction of where you want to go with your life, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think from me as well, like the first step is definitely like identify that you actually do have a problem, to some degree, or an issue that you need to reduce or completely stop. And again, like I said, some people's addiction is smoking, eating fast foods, you know what I mean? And like we said, balance, right? So you can do some of those things, like let's talk about food, like, like cheat days or treat days. You can have that in moderation, right? Or, have your days where you have that, but just like balance it out. So I definitely think like identifying that is one. I think for me, the second one is now curating a plan. And that actually kind of like correlates, funny enough, with another one of our episodes on goal setting. And one of the steps is like, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So I think curating some form of a plan or some sort of steps. And I think the big thing for me is baby steps, because I'm big on like trying to self-gratify in the little achievements that you can, rather than thinking, like, I want to make £1 million this year. But like, don't forget to give yourself the gratification that you made 10K, 100K, 500K. So similarly as well, if you're a smoker and you smoked every single day, 7 times a week, and you've now reduced to 5 times a week, that's a big achievement. Massive achievement.
Massive.
You just reduced your smoking by like 20%, and I think slowly plan out, the steps you need to take, or the steps that you want to have to then obviously reduce it or completely remove it. I think, like I said again, going cold turkey is like, it's going to be difficult and almost near impossible to completely stop something. So I think you need to have a plan and slowly create little steps and milestones within those steps of what you want to achieve. And then, you know, like, give yourself a little pat on the back or whatever. Say like, yeah, I've done this. You know, my mind has beaten my body, you know, type thing.
No, I like that. I think for me, just based again on my own personal experience, it was identifying the triggers. Like if you sat in a room by yourself and wasn't triggered by anything, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to want to have that addiction. But I always find there's something that triggers you. You might see an advert on TV and think, I want to buy that. Or like I said, for me, it was seeing a Bet365 advert while I'm watching a game watching Gillette Soccer Saturday on a Saturday afternoon and seeing all these games and thinking, like, I want to gamble. Like, for me, identify triggers that make you want to, you know, buy into that addiction, so to speak. I think that would be a good step. And then replace it with something else. Like, I think for me, what helped with me overcome my addiction was, like, once I identified the triggers and got rid of the triggers, it was kind of like finding something else to do. So that's kind of like a step 2 and 3, I guess. For me, number 2, identify the triggers. And then number 3 would be replace it with something else. And I think I managed to replace that addiction with business. Because the moment I got into business, it distracted me. I didn't have time to gamble. I was too busy reading books.
Very time consuming.
Very time consuming.
I just really actually need that now. It's extremely time consuming. If you gamble a lot, you're jobless. You know what I mean?
Bro, literally, like, I would sit there, wake up at 10, look at all the fixtures for the day and gamble the whole day. Before you know it, it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, grand down.
What have I done myself?
Do you know what I mean? So when I, like I said, identify the triggers, remove them, and I was like, I need to find something else to do. I think for me, I gambled because, not even that I love money, but I like the rush of making money. Because I always found that once I made the money, I didn't even care about it. Like, I made it, it's like, cool. I like the dopamine that you get from making the money. But once the bet wins, it's like,
okay, what next?
Now, I don't really care.
That's why you kind of go again now.
So you go again. So you're always kind of looking for that rush. So for me, identified the triggers, found something else to do, which was business. And I found I just didn't have the time to gamble. And then once the business was up and running and I started making money, I said to myself, this is a better way to make money. It's a bit more structured. It's more reliant on me. And I can see people who are in this industry making money. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of like, again, probably episode we would touch on, like, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Stop trying to do things that you can't see other people doing. Because if other people are doing it, it probably means it doesn't really work. Like, you don't have to be this maverick who now comes up with this great new way of making money. There are people who know how to make money, who are making money for them. So, the business distracted me in a good way. And then when I saw the value of just having my own business and the money I was making, I thought, why didn't I do this ages ago? Like, I don't need to gamble to make money. There are other ways and more sustainable ways to make money, and that kind of helped me step 3.
100%. I also echo that as well, like trying to find other distractions, positive distractions to kind of compensate for that. And also kind of my equal or simultaneous step 3 to that is also talk to people about it as well. You know, sometimes there are demons beyond yourself. So seek support. So speak to your friends, speak to your family, speak to your loved ones, speak to your brethren, your girlfriends, whatever. Speak to someone about it, because sometimes people might be going through the same thing that you're going through as well. And they might be able to help you and they might be able to give you a bit of advice or be like an accountability partner. Like, for us, you know, obviously we gym twice a week, every week. So, you know, sometimes, like, even like this morning, I had a bit of a slow one.
Where are you, bro? Like,
I had a bit of a slow one.
Class has started and you're not even here.
I had to slap it in sport to get to class ASAP. You know what I mean? And I feel like having like an accountability partner massively helps you and motivates you, because, like, not only do you want to let yourself down, you don't want to let them down.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because as much as you believe in yourself, they believe in you. So that's like another thing as well. Like, speak to people about it as well. And now that it's out in the open as well, you're more inclined to, like, no, I've just told John and Pat and about this. I can't do that. Like, what are they going to think if I do that? So, like, I always try to, like, again, probably maybe not the best tactic, but, like, I always kind of like try to shame myself into it as well. You know, and I feel like by speaking to people about it, and it will kind of like motivate you and incline you to be against that. and again, try to, again, like use them as a support network and a support group as well. So
I think that's a good. I think one of the biggest problems with that though is that a lot of people are in denial.
yeah,
So they won't even think that. And that was me. Like I didn't. People say, "Oh, like you do this a lot." I'm like, "No, I'm good, man." But I was addicted. So it's like you said, you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You have to like look yourself in the mirror and be like, "This is actually a problem. Like, is this helping me? Is this like?" And again, you won't know if it's helping you if you haven't really identified a purpose or goals in your life. Because ultimately, life should be about becoming the best version of yourself, right?
Yeah, of
So,
course.
is this addiction helping me become the best version of myself? And it is a case of sometimes just looking yourself in the mirror and being like, this is not helping me. Like I said, for me, but it's hard, because you are in the now. You don't want to believe that you're addicted to that. You feel like, no, I'm not. I'm just doing what I want to do. But you don't understand in doing what you want to do is holding you back, So, but yeah, and I agree. Speaking to people always helps. Speak to someone you trust.
Yeah.
The whole world doesn't need to know your business, but
Of course.
you might have, one or two
Yeah,
people
select few.
who
Yeah.
you kind of trust, who you can kind of get some advice off. And like you said, just know when you are trying to overcome that addiction, there is going to be that relapse.
Yeah.
That is normal for you to stop. But if you can slowly start to filter it out, because I found that for me, I'm a bit different. I found I had to try and just blank it all out. Because I thought if I place that one bet and I lose, I'm going to start chasing again. I'm going to start chasing. I'm going to lose that bills and think, shit, nah, man, Arsenal are playing Man City at 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, that's
and
a Gary win.
And I know Bukayo Saka's going to score. So if I put £100 on that, I'm going to make it back. But it's like, nah, this is not it. Again, like, you have to be honest with yourself and say, if I was to step out of myself again and look at myself, would I be happy with what I'm doing?
Yeah.
That's another way.
Yeah.
Try and step out of who you are and look at yourself from like across the room. Are you happy with who you see? Are you happy with what you're doing?
Yeah. Likely not.
Yeah.
Likely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I think that's really good. I think that's we've gave a lot of from our perspective, some practical advice and steps in terms of like managing addictions.
I would talk about probably like what can happen if you don't overcome addictions, because one thing can lead to another, lead to another, lead to another.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think one of the things, if you don't overcome these addictions, I think it's a snowball effect now. It's now a snowball effect to the point where a stick smoking, 1 cigarette a day turns into 2 cigarette days and 3 cigarettes a day. And it's not, and again, also being mindful of what you do now might not necessarily affect you tomorrow. Again, it could be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Like, it could just have detrimental effects to your, in the example of smoking,
that
to your
little
body.
Cough turns into like lung problems.
You know what I mean?
Struggling to breathe.
You know what I mean? And you think before you just had the chesty cough and then now you're coughing out blood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think just being like, think proactively and think in the future. Think of yourself in 5, 10, 15 years. And personally, I know we were kind of like related to business, but every single time I'm always, me and my business partner always making decisions, we think, how the decision we're making today affect our business in 2, 3, 4, 5 years time? Obviously we can't predict the future, but we want to make calculated risks. And what I'm doing right now is a calculated risk, and how will it affect my, my future? Like, saying, for instance, a lot of people are trying to get on the property ladder, right? Me spending £500 a week in the bookies, how far away would that deter me from my goal of getting my dream house?
Further and further away from where you need to be.
Exactly. So that's the kind of the negatives, or one of the disadvantages, I think, of allowing it to continue on, and it can have a serious effect on your daily life. You know what I mean? Relationships, your friends, your family. You start becoming unsociable. Like you said, it affects your mood.
Yeah, my mood was like up and down. Like, sometimes my daughter would be like wanting to play with me, and I'm just like, stay away. Like, I'm watching this game because I got money riding on it. So like, it can seriously affect relationships and mood and just how you feel. And like you said, you start locking yourself away from the world. And it's dangerous. I think for me, like, just the signs as well. The signs are there. And you kind of have to pay attention to the signs. Like you said, that little starts turning into, do you know what I mean? Like, I can't breathe, and like, do you know what I mean? That like small belly now becomes out here, and you're like, I'm at risk of diabetes now because I'm drinking too much and things like that. So yeah, addictions, like most things, you never really see it straight away.
Yeah.
They compound, right?
Yeah, literally.
So they compound over time, and before you know it, it's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. Now you've got the chest problems. Now you've got the diabetes. Now your girl's left you because date night don't happen no more.
You know what I
ain't
mean?
got no money to take her out on a Friday.
She only wanted to go Morley's, bro.
You're saying, let's go Morley's. She's like, no, I don't want that food. I want to go Hackensack. But the money's not there.
You
So,
know what I mean?
like, yeah, the signs definitely, they start to add up, and it just starts to kind of affect all things around, man. So
yeah, no, I think that's good. I think that's really practical. Yeah, I really hope that like for those who are obviously like, you know, going through certain like addictions, you know, like I said, you at the first step you identify, create a plan, and then you identify, like John said as well, like look at your triggers as well, like what's setting you off. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times you don't just sort of kind of wake up and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's something
that's, you know, the night before, you're watching, you're seeing people, your association, so whatever it may be, like identify that, and then again, like create that plan and speak to people as well, because it's not easy. It's not it's not easy. It's tough, and nothing good ever comes easy, as they say, right?
100%.
So you just have to kind of struggle through and power through. But yeah, that's
heavy one.
That's a heavy one.
That one
Still,
touched the nerve.
you know.
Get me emotional on that.
No,
that
I'll have
one was
to
heavy.
double check that in the edits for me. Sure that can go live. That man rants.
But
no,
this is a part of the episode where we kind of pull out, whether it's a tweet, a video, something you saw on IG, X, TikTok, something that kind of inspired us, motivated us, that we thought we wanted to kind of share with the audience, and kind of what that meant to us and how that kind of helped us as well. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, cool, yes. So,
while I look for mine.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared this week.
Cool. So my one, funny enough, I've had this quote kind of like saved for a while, but it's really on brand with today's episode. And it's basic, and it says, instead of focusing on how difficult the journey will be, think about how great your story will be. So I'll read it again. It's, you know, I like deep. Instead of focusing on how difficult the journey will be, think about how great your story will be. And for me, that really hit home for me, because most people that you see that are successful often have some form of like a struggle story. And like, if like, for instance, like take for example, I don't watch football much, but what I do know of Cristiano Ronaldo, that he came from absolute poverty, like didn't have the best upbringing, you know, and really worked hard and strived. And that's a sweet story, as opposed to, because he's had such a difficult journey, a lot of struggle. Yeah. So and sort of relating back and correlating back to that, I think it's always sort of making sure, okay, cool, you know, you're on a mission. It's not going to be easy, but you just got to keep on pouring through. Got to keep on plowing through. Got to keep on plowing through. And then once you get to your destination,
sweet,
and you look back,
all the progress you've made.
When you look at the peak of the mountain and you're thinking, I did that. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah,
cool. No, I like that, man.
Yeah,
thanks for sharing, man. If you can see it, you can create it. Transform your thinking, transform your actions. So I'm going to read that again. If you can see it, you can create it. Transforming your thinking transforms your actions. So basically what that means for me is that if you've got something you want to achieve, you kind of visualize what that looks like. Because once you can kind of visualize what that looks like, it's then easier to then kind of think of the actions that are needed to kind of make that a reality. So once you transform your thinking, you've kind of like thought about, okay, this is what it looks like for me. And then now I'm like, okay, cool. What are the actions now I can assign to kind of make this? Whereas if you don't think about what it looks like to you, then you can't really create the actions, right?
Of course.
So again, I think if I want to be a millionaire and I visualize what that looks like, I now can start putting actions in place to help me kind of achieve that goal for myself. So
that makes sense.
Your thinking can help transform your actions.
Yeah. You know, definitely. I think, people really underestimate the mind, the power of the mind. You know, that there's like studies that, you know, kind of that showed that, you know, simply thinking in a depressed state or like a sick state can actually affect your body. You know what I mean? So like, don't underestimate the power of the mind, guys. I think, it can really what's the one thing you always say? You've got to. You have to force your mind to do the things your body doesn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Them cold showers.
Yeah, them cold plunges at David Lloyd. But I think, and that's why sometimes you do see like 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds deadlifting like 120 kilos.
It's a mental thing.
Like your body shouldn't like naturally allow you to do that.
Yeah.
But your mentals.
I think once you can kind of open up your mind to see like the endless possibilities, it allows you to kind of get excited. And once you're excited, you feel like you can do anything. You feel like you can do anything. And that's kind of where I was going with it. Like, you want to see it. If you can see it, you can create it. Like, if you can visualize what that looks like, then there's no reason why you can't create it. Like, your brain wouldn't allow you to think of something that it couldn't create. Obviously, I'm not talking about flying and stuff like that, but your mind doesn't allow you to think about things that are possible for you without it being realistic.
Of course, yeah.
So, yeah, the brain is powerful. And we always say to ourselves, like, what's that saying about we only use 7% of our brain capacity? Can you imagine if you open up your brain just another 10%, what you could possibly achieve, you know? So, yeah, it's mind-blowing, man. It's mind-blowing.
But yeah, no, it's good. I think, this is a really good episode. I think, we touch on a lot of practical points. And I think from our own perspective, we give a lot of advice. And
hopefully people found that quite useful. I'm sure everyone's got, you know, we could call it an addiction and advice, sort of same sort of thing that they might be struggling with, you know, and not really know how to overcome it, or feel like they can't really speak to anyone, or, you know, this podcast is all about kind of identifying problems that 99% of people have, you know, and then kind of debunking how that if you don't overcome that problem, how it can affect your life, and then obviously giving some, you know, a few simple steps of how we would overcome that problem, or problems that how we would overcome it, or things that we've experienced and how we've managed to overcome it ourselves. So hopefully, you know, people found that useful.
Yep.
You know, leave a comment.
Yes, please.
In the comment section below.
Like, subscribe,
all of that
rate,
good stuff.
all of that good stuff. Share it. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And then, again, like always, guys, if there are any other topics that you want us to discuss or deliberate about, please let us know in the comments, or just shoot us a DM. And love.
Elevate.